Do you realize that you're being scammed? Do you realize that you're being deceived at every turn? The power control force, those that presume to run this world, are con artists. They con you every single moment of every single day within this system, this consciousness system. You have to come to understand the deeper level of what you're dealing with here. These con artists, the power control force, are manipulating your reality in order to deceive you, in order to seduce you, and to keep you in this perpetual lie that they have created with all these fake religions, with all their fake texts, with all their fake intellectual systems, and they are manipulating humanity into their own dream, into their reality or illusion of reality. So I want to introduce you to this new post that I posted in the description. It's called Scarlott Johansson's new movie's Lucy, which equals light. That is the meaning of the word. Lucy means light, but the name of the movie is Lucy. Under Your Skin, or Under the Skin, is the next movie. And it's interesting that Under the Skin came out, or was released in Germany on March the 6th. And then Lucy will be coming out in the summer of 2014. So I found it interesting that both these movies were coming out, and they have a similar theme that I want to talk to you about around sexuality and psychic energy and all things human and the supernatural. And but before I begin that, I want to touch base with you. Have you been noticing the energies? Noticing the energies. We have a very significant planetary alignment, very powerful alignment, May 7th through the 10th. And I'm doing this audio on the 9th. Just using the energies in order to allow the awareness that is me to manipulate my reality. It's fascinating. It's such an exciting time to be in physical form as awareness. Never been done before. It's the first time in human history that awareness is experiencing itself in physical form for those of us who are engaging that process, engaging that transformational process at this level. So anyway, Venus, the Sun, and Mercury, and Jupiter, very powerful alignment, will be on the 11th. But from May 7th through the 10th, we have Venus, Sun, and Mercury. I totally loving the energies as awareness. And I'm able to see more. I'm able to experience more. And able to deconstruct this consciousness system that we are immersed in. And then we have the Sun, Mars, Saturn lining up on the 13th. That should be pretty profound. But then the Sun is moving into that alignment on the 10th. That's Saturday. But on the 11th, we also have Venus, Sun, Mercury, Jupiter. The 11th, Mother's Day. Yes, so it's a very powerful time. Again, we can just look to planetary alignments and occultations to see how the power control force, the universal architects, use the solar system as their programming device in order to manipulate your evolution, in order to capture your awareness and use the awareness that is you in order to keep this dream afloat. But as we'll see in these movies, they're definitely giving us clues all the time that this system is in its death throes of the end times. It truly is. And yet they deceive you from even that knowing. They're very clever, the power control force. So anyway, I'm going to direct you to a new focus that I'm going to be implementing, and that is a model of awareness. I've been sort of weaving bits and pieces of information, data, consciousness, into some of my sharings on these allegories of films and other allegorical insights that I garner out of this information or data stream that we are, this manipulation of energy through the media that we are spoon-fed, this information and data that is totally fake. I have been weaving some of the information that I've been wanting to share with you about this consciousness system, but I'm going to put it into a book form, but I'm starting it out with as a model, and it's called the Awareness Model and a Return to Paradise. And so it's an experiment. This has never been done before. So I'm sharing as awareness how to deconstruct this consciousness system and come to know yourself as awareness. Now, whether that happens or not for you, I don't know if that will happen. I can just be a facilitator. I feel that in sharing my experience, maybe it'll help you, but I certainly will not stand here and tell you that if you follow this model, that you will come to know yourself as awareness. That is up to you. I'm not a guru. I'm not some, supernatural, powerful being that is going to stand here and tell you that, you can come to know yourself as awareness like I have. I truly believe that if you are designed to know self as awareness, it'll be because you have the impetus to take that journey. It's not something you can do on a whim. Coming to know self as awareness. I'll be talking about this more in the future, but it's like Rob Ford, the mayor of Toronto. He just went into rehab a couple days ago because he's come to realization he has an alcohol problem. He's going to be in rehab for the next 30 days. And so he won't be drinking any alcohol. He will have to go through a process of withdrawal and all kinds of things in order to hopefully help him to overcome his disease of alcoholism. But he has other problems too. I mean, he also has a drug problem, which he hasn't acknowledged. But when you come to know self as awareness, it's quite the same process. You have to go through a process of rehabilitation. You would go through a process of withdrawal. And it's a very intense process. And in a world of quick fixes and instantaneous gratification, most people won't want to go through that process, because ultimately what awareness is about feeling good all the time. And literally all the time. It's just resting in a blissful state. And you get beyond bliss after a certain point, but there are stages that you go through. But ultimately, it's to maintain a home frequency, or your home frequency, as awareness in your paradise state, and that is to rest in a constant state of paradise in which you experience no negativity, no suffering, no pain. And 90% of what we experience in this physical dimension is suffering and pain, and most people are addicted to their pain and suffering. So just like Rob Ford, the mayor of Toronto, is going through rehabilitation, it's a worldwide, international story. the same thing process you would have to go through to come to know self as awareness. And so you would have to take a very severe process. And I know from my own experience with people that I work with, it's very challenging for them. I can take you there in about 2 minutes and experience self as awareness in about 2 minutes. And we'll try a little bit of that here. But I've done some online sharings and or online gatherings in which we were just experiencing being as awareness. But it's very challenging because people, I don't know who you are, don't know where you are on your journey, and to be trying to go in and out of being in awareness and being in physical form and being in the world, it's very challenging. So, it's not for the faint of heart. So I'm not going to tell you that through my sharing, you're going to experience self as awareness. I think at best it will give you some relief, and hopefully it will give some of you some satisfaction that you know, and knowing that something is possible for you. And so we'll just see how this goes. I have a vision. That, one day we'll be in stadiums, like it's very similar to the Super Bowl, or but instead of rituals, we will be creating sacred space in large stadiums and big arenas in which we're creating sacred space as awareness. And in so doing that in a mere few minutes, when all of us just simply rest in a constant state of paradise, we can shift the paradigm, we can shift our reality. And so that is my hope. That's the vision that I'm holding. But I also have to realize that, I am under a program. And I do realize that, and that's very freeing, that I am under this program, that I am wired to be doing what it is that I'm doing. And so I have to keep things in perspective as well, because the program that I'm under, I also know is designed to deceive me and to manipulate me into the power control force's agenda and trajectory. So I have to be aware of that. Why am I being so guided to share to large groups and to share what I know? It's like, it's very tricky line to follow or to be a part of. But awareness is awareness, I know. So yes, this new focus of this model, the awareness model, I'll be doing a new playlist, and I will be focused on how to deconstruct consciousness. I'll be sharing all kinds of stuff. So you can tune into that and that sharing, and we'll see how that plays out. That's what happens. This is a result of the Cardinal Grand Cross. It's like this dismantling of the system. So the G2 cloud. I read another article on G2 cloud last week, and I'm kind of getting disinterested in the G2 cloud because of what I'm seeing. It's just another manipulation by the power control force. G2 cloud, the grand mutation of 2020, the dark horse nebulae, that I've been talking about. They're all the same. It's just for those that are scientifically inclined to grab onto information that the power control force are feeding us. It's just another example of diverting people's attention and creating new scenarios and new narratives in order for people to follow. These girls in Nigeria, for those of you who want to join me on Facebook, you can do that. It's Kerrace, Kerrace Alexander. And I do share quite a bit there on a daily basis, sometimes less frequently, but more frequently than I do in these YouTube podcasts. But I had someone on Facebook ask me if I could talk about the girls in Nigeria. And someone had actually, and I basically said, there's only so much I can talk about with regards to the news, the media. What I suggest is that I share stuff that I think is relevant to the transformation, that's in relation to that I can use as examples of this metamorphosis, this transformation that we are in the process of. And so I like to use news from that perspective, but just to talk about everything in the news that is really a way to deceive you, that just would be a waste of my time and energy. Energy! Simply because it's all distraction anyway from keeping you from allowing you to engage your own metamorphosis, allowing you to come to know self as awareness. These are all ways to deceive you and distract you. But anyway, the girls in Nigeria, I will explain in this podcast that the girls in Nigeria gone missing is no different than the Malaysia flight gone missing. You see the theme here? Or the sinking of the ship, the people who lost their lives and have gone missing. It's just new introduction of new phenomena, new anomalies that I mentioned to you. But it's going to show up again when I talk about these movies. All things human are fading away. And that's when I talked about this whole idea of the cardinal cross, meaning for me the dismantling energetically of the system off of my physicality. That's very intellectual or kind of obscure or abstract explanation for what it is that I'm experiencing. But in this movie trailer, what I'm going to share with you is that one of the lines that comes out in the movie is when Scarlott Johansson says, all things human are fading away. She says that. And so that is my experience, is that all things human are fading away. So I find that quite interesting, how I can relate some of the themes that come up or the narratives that come up in the script, part of the script in these movies, how it relates to our metamorphosis, or more importantly, my metamorphosis. So with these girls in Nigeria, one of my friends on Facebook sent me the World Economic Forum is happening the same week or within the same time frame, which is May 7th through 9th, it's happening in Nigeria, when this international news story has gone, it's worldwide. And one interesting thing that I saw was that Michelle Obama holds a sign in the White House, one of the rooms in the White House, saying, "Bring our girls home." Well, that's staged. I was just like, oh my God. So how she's being used to create more sensation through this story. A story, again, a narrative used to divert your attention. So this World Economic Forum that my friend on Facebook sent me information called on the World Economic Forum, and I saw the connection with these girls in Nigeria. And I thought that was quite interesting that it came out at the same time. And then I was hearing on the news, CBC, as I'm in Canada, and I listened to the news on the radio simply to see what the narratives are coming out. And they're focusing on the president of Nigeria. So he may be ousted, feeling that, he's not done enough. So this may be a coup d'etat to get him out. Who knows? Oil is big. Oil is big in Nigeria. But I wouldn't want to be messing in Nigeria. That's one hell of a place. I've been to Africa, but I wouldn't want to be messing around in Nigeria. Holy smokes. Anyway, on to bigger and better things. The program reality that we lived in. I noticed my numbers have gone down a little bit. Yeah, when you start talking about the fact that we lived in a programmed reality or virtual reality, it doesn't jive with a lot of people. So I noticed my numbers have gone down a little bit in terms of the viewing, and that's okay because I don't know, what's going to happen. I really appreciate those of you who stick it through. Talking about our reality being a program reality is not going to fit within most people's theory or knowing of their reality of what they're living through. And but this is a very important piece. What I'm trying to do is to help you deconstruct your reality, and so that you can understand that this is an illusion. So when I talk about program reality, which I will continue to, it may cause you to cause interference. It may cause you to feel a sense of distortion, or distorted, or irritated, and want to turn me off. Well, that's going to happen. This is an experiment. If you're feeling irritated by what I'm saying, if you're feeling irritated by how I share, it's because I'm poking at you and it's having an effect. So stick with it, because then when you're feeling irritated by Karis and what she's sharing, that something is happening, that I'm actually helping you to break the spell. So what I ask you to do is to feel through your discomfort when I share and stay here, because it will get uncomfortable. I guarantee it, if it has not already. Do you realize that you are immersed in a movie? No different than a movie you would go to in a movie theater. It's not so far-fetched to see that you could be immersed in a movie. This is very pioneering work. To see your illusory reality from a different perspective. We'll call it reality, because I really need to clarify and define illusion, because people don't like that word. But what I'm finding is that we have to give new words and new meaning to what it is that we're experiencing outside of the words and meanings that the power control force give us, because their words and meanings have a spell. So that's why I make the distinction between awareness and consciousness, and I'll share that in my next post, or sharing. And why I use different language, like the power control force, because that breaks the spell. I don't call them the Illuminati, because that is what they want you to call it. There's a spell in that word. It keeps the veil over who and what they are. It's a deceptive tool. So we have to use different language. Start thinking for yourself. So let's look at this movie quickly. It truly is a glorious time to be here. But yeah, I will not be sharing as much with regards to the agenda, the narratives that are playing out, because I want to focus my time and energy on things that are really important. That is how we dismantle this program and create a reality of our own choosing and our own making, because it truly is an exciting time. We don't want to miss out on the opportunity to create a world or utopia of our own choosing, our own making, because as you know, and as I shared in my last podcast, this dystopia narrative that is playing out on the physical world stage is very real. And that the power control force believe that they should only live in a utopian environment, that it's only for a few. But that's also by design, because the power control force know awareness. They know who you are. Yes, the power control force know exactly who you are. They know that you rest in a constant state of paradise. They know that. And with that knowledge, they have said, well, what we'll do is we'll tell them that they're worthless. We'll tell them that they don't deserve to have wealth and be in opulence, because that's what they are. We'll just deceive them. We'll manipulate them into believing that they are nothing, they are useless, they are scum, they are dead. And we'll keep everything for ourselves. Because we can do that. We can manipulate them. Because they know who you are. So take heed. They know who you are more than you do, and they're using that to their advantage. Now, what do you think happens when you come to know self as awareness? They can't manipulate you anymore. And that's what they fear. They can no longer manipulate you, and their dream will no longer exist. So here we go with this movie. Scarlett Johansson's new movies Lucy equals light, Under the Skin, Supernatural, Waking Up, Sexuality, Psychic Energy, all things human are simply fading away. It turns out that Scarlett Johansson will be starring in 2 consecutive movies on a similar deeper narrative that I gleaned from the trailers regarding humanity's socially induced awakening, which is being reinforced by the power control force, who in fact do everything in their power to circumvent any form of waking up. They truly work very hard to keep you and humanity under massive hypnosis. And through their massive amounts of distraction and confusion and hysteria through the media, through their delusional fake reality disguised as truth, through all forms of the media, in order they do this to circumvent the loser body of humanity to truly come to know itself as awareness, which is the ultimate reality. What I noticed in both these movies is the emphasis on sexuality as a prime motivator of the main character, which is a reference to sexual energy or psychic energy. More importantly, it shows us how Scarlett Johansson, the main character in both films, uses sexuality as a prime motivator of her character's behavior. It is sexual energy that turns a human machine on and makes it hum. For all of us, that is. Even if the particular activities one may be engaged in do not particularly look sexual, although both characters, one personifying the predator and the other personifying the prey, are sexualized in one form or another. The point I want to make here is that if not all mental processes or behavior can be attributed to psychic energy or sexuality, or the soul of which can be attributed to sexual energy as well, soul which can be attributed to sexual energy as well, as we see in the Lucy character. Evolving her soul, allowing her to access her potential, dormant, innate abilities as she is preyed upon by dark forces in the movie Lucy. Unfortunately, we are given many negative reminders throughout both films about the consequences of obtaining one's true power. But we can leave that for the masses to eat up, as we know better. We know what's really going on, right? The new movie Under the Skin's initial opening on March 6, 2014, is a movie in which Scarlett Johansson plays a mysterious woman considered an alien predator who lures men into fatal mating dance. A brilliant science fiction movie, more of an experience than a traditional story, with plenty to say about gender roles, sexism, and power of lust. It is a pretentious gloss on a very old story about men's fear of women and women's discomfort with their own allure. Yes, that's all by design. This cultural system that has been developed by the power control force has created that schism, that discomfort with women and their power and men's fear of women. They've created that duality between, that schism between men and women. So this movie, does it contain mysteries that can only be unpacked with repeat viewings, or is it a shallow film whose assured style and eerie tone make it seem deeper than it is? Or is there in fact something beneath the movie's skin? Yeah, when you watch this trailer, it's very distorted, it's very disjointed. You have no sense. I mean, the trailer alone you have no sense of what this movie is about. So I figure that the movie is all about not really understanding anything. It's so disjointed. But that's by design. You know, it's created. These movies are created in order for you to not understand truly what's going on. It's in order to create you to fragment more. You know, so you don't understand. So here's a few under your skin highlights from the trailer that stood out for me. We see it's a little reminder of Hal. Remember Hal from Stanley Kubrick's 2001 Space Odyssey? You know, the computer, Hal. So I thought that was interesting, how that came up in this movie. And at the end of the disjointed trailer, which makes no sense as it sheds another subliminal, here it says at the very end, "You don't want to wake up, do you?" Can you imagine that? That's a subliminal at the end of the trailer. You don't want to wake up, do you? Yes. They know the awareness that you are is waking up, but then they disguise it through movies and they tell you subliminally, you don't want to wake up, do you? Very powerful stuff. Very revealing. The movie Lucy, to be released this summer 2014, is set in a world that is run by the mob, street gangs, drug addicts, and corrupt cops. You know, like the power control force, the thugs, the con artists that run this physical world. Lucy, Scarlott Johansson, a woman living in Taipei, Taiwan, is forced to work as a drug mule for the mob. Yeah, the power control force. The drug implanted in her body inadvertently leaks into her system. And you'll see this in the trailer. And I think that this has a deeper meaning, that drugs and psychedelics give you supernatural powers. Because it's not until the drugs inadvertently leak into her system that she obtains these superhuman powers. So they're inferring, and they want you to, you know, they want you to believe that the only way that you can attain supernatural powers is through psychedelics or drugs. So anyway, she can absorb, once this leak happens of these drugs within her system, she absorbs knowledge instantaneously. How about that? And is able to move objects with her mind and cannot feel pain and other discomforts. Oh, I can't move objects with my mind yet, but I certainly don't feel any pain and discomfort. That's not a part of my reality. Only in certain instances when I'm menstruating. Personal sharing there. But yeah, I just really jive with this character here a bit. In the Lucy trailer, you can watch it here below in this post. Morgan Freeman's character, who is Professor Norman, states at 113 in the video. And when I saw that 113 in the video, this trailer, I automatically went to a reference to 311 and that Fukushima disaster. Again, just a subliminal, most won't notice. It is estimated that, because, you know, I always watch numbers, because numbers are so powerful for the power control force. It is estimated that human beings only use, so here's Professor Norman. He's saying at the United Nations conference, it is estimated that human beings only use 10% of their brain capacity. Imagine if we could access 100%, he says in this trailer. Interesting things begin to happen. Yes, the power control force know this. I love this piece. When Professor Norman is asked what happens when the brain reaches 100%, he states he has no idea. So that's what the power control force don't know, is that they don't know how humanity will respond, or for those who wake up as awareness, they don't know how they will be able to, they cannot predict how awareness will respond in human form when it reaches its capacity of 100%. That's because that in essence signals that awareness would actually be operating within this consciousness system, but actually overriding it. There's a deeper meaning here, yes. You have to look at things from a different perspective, and I'm just looking at it from the perspective of awareness, yes. Awareness would actually be overriding the system, and it would not be 100% of the brain capacity. It would be 100% of this mind, the thought, and the thought process. That if we access 100% of that within this consciousness system, because the brain would just be a tool that we would use in order to manipulate the mind, the thought, and the thought process, which is this psychic energy, this sexual energy, this soul, right? Get it? He then states, with all this knowledge, we can unlock secrets that go beyond our universe, and then he states, and I'm not sure if mankind is ready for this. It's not about mankind being ready for this. It's about the power control force not being ready for this. That is in truth. And that is why the power control force is so diligently creating this dystopian world. The Scarlett Johansson character, Lucy, states in the movie, and I love this picture. I love this picture. But she states in the movie, it's like all things human are fading away. And I thought, yeah, that's what it's like for me with this Cardinal Grand Cross. It's like all things human are fading away. It's this dismantling energetically of this matrix, this system off of me, the physicality. Yes, so it's almost like all things are dissolving. The human aspect, the human are fading away. The illusion of this system is fading away. So the power control force know this. How is it that they would know this? I love this picture, as Lucy is also able to see through and manipulate the unified field of consciousness. You'll see that in the movie. She's actually, there's this energy field in front of her, and she's manipulating it. And that's what I'm doing. It's like I'm awareness outside of this universe, outside of the solar system, and outside of this physical earth plane. And I step into these dimensions, if you want to call them, but I'm seeing everything now from the perspective as awareness outside of all of this whole consciousness system. That's my experience now. So it's like she's looking at this screen, right? And she's manipulating the data stream, this field, the information stream of data, which allows her to be able to manipulate her reality. And that's what I'm attempting to support you to do, is to manipulate your reality. So the power control force are giving you clues as to what is possible for you, but they certainly are not going to tell you how to get there. I completely get this. That is the ability to manipulate reality. That is the unified field of consciousness. And I personally experience what Lucy's character says when she says, it's like all things human are fading away, as that is what is happening for me. Watch the trailer. It will provide a better visual of how she is able to manipulate her reality. I often ask myself the question, how is it that the power control force know about human potential? Because, for one, we are so well studied by them, and they can time travel into the future. It's their system, remember? It's their consciousness system. It's their programmed reality. It's their computer program, so they can know what's going to happen at every step. They, in fact, know exactly what all the possible future potential probabilities for every human being on this planet. I kid you not. Remember, it is their programmed reality. We are living in their dream. And that they are the designers of this game, this video game that we are immersed in, that we are playing, that we allow ourselves to be manipulated within. That is why they are ushering us into this austere and dystopian society, because the power control force are not ready for and could not manage a humanity that knows itself as awareness. Cannot emphasize that enough. The power control force are not ready for and could not manage a humanity that knows itself as awareness, knowing and experiencing its paradise state in physicality. And see, the rules also are key here, because the rules of the dream we are immersed in does not account for humanity waking up in this universe. It was never designed for awareness to know itself. The universe was only designed to keep the awareness that is you from knowing itself, from the truth and knowing of who and what it is as awareness, simply resting in a constant state of paradise. So basically, their dream is over. It's done. When enough of humanity wakes up into the knowing of itself as awareness, and the power control force know this, but they are buying time, basically, in the hopes that they can keep the game, the video game afloat, the computer simulation going. So they dangle little carrots in front of humanity in the hopes that when they see characters like Lucy, they will believe it is fictional and not really something that they could achieve on their own. And that's how they manipulate you and seduce you into believing that, oh, none of this could be a part of your metamorphosis or your reality. And yet it is. In other words, they want to make sure that all things humanity or all things human don't fade away. So take a look at the trailer. On a final note, the word Lucy, I found, means light in Latin. So is the Lucy character in the movie resembling the light? Yes, in terms of this consciousness system which uses light to manipulate awareness. That is through the concept of light, which makes up this consciousness system comprised of our universe and our physical world system and our solar system. Light is the master seducer and is the ultimate lie that manipulates your essence as awareness into believing all of what you experience of life is real. Nature is formed out of light as well, of consciousness, which equals the lie. So just as Homo sapiens come from the light, they too, like you, have been seduced in believing into this consciousness system and that it's all real. But this is all changing, right? As all things human are fading away. It truly is a glorious time to be alive. It truly is a glorious time to be here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening to me. And it truly is an exciting time. I wish you all the best. Take care. Bye.